Hello, my lovely. You didn't get to where you are in your business by doing shit the way that everybody else does. And you know that what got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be. And if you are listening to this podcast, it's because you want to be the go-to for what you do better than anyone else. Your brilliance is the niche. Being you, that bold, unfuckwithable presence that you've secretly been craving to set free, she is in there. And that means you will have to burn some old bridges down. And attracting your people will also repel those who are not for you. Fucking hooray. Becoming a force of nature business and brand means no more Miss People Pleaser, no more hiding your turbo brain, no more dimming down jack shit. And if you have ever been told to tone it down as a woman with ADHD, it's time to tone your shit all the way the fuck back up. That is how you create unstoppable momentum in your business and visibility that is something you've been avoiding, but that you truly want. This podcast is about stepping into your upgrade, watering down anything, never change the fucking world. You were not born to be forgettable. And as one of my all-time favorite quotes says, well-behaved women rarely make history, and nothing about you or me is well-behaved, at least not anymore. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the boring, unsexy, and lucrative as fuck foundational work that will set your business up for long-term sustainable growth. If you are here for the marathon and not just the dopamine hits and the sprints, it's time to get more intentional. And if you haven't built that foundation yet because you've been building the plane while you're flying it, like we are so good at doing in the beginning, no shade, because that is truly most of us. I also know, however, that your next level income and growth will literally require a stronger, more simplified foundation that makes sense to your brain to maintain so that your clients know exactly what you do. You are known and seen. You start getting referrals and re-signs, or you may already be there. And you are able to then have more playtime. This is like when you were in school, there was more recess. It's the opposite here. There was more recess when you were young, no recess in high school, right? With a business, there's a lot less recess in the beginning and a lot more room to play once the foundation and the foundational income are underneath you. Then it's playtime, bitches. So from one force of nature to another, turn the volume up to an 11. And one more thing before we get rolling. Now that you're listening, you've officially joined my girl gang. So welcome to the Feral Women's Club. Welcome back to the ADHD Entrepreneu, the podcast for feral ADHD women in business who refuse to play by the fucking rules. That's you. That's me. That's our girl gang. My name is Carrie. I am your host. I'm the chief weirdo of Carrie Out Loud. And if you are new here, hey, I'm so glad that you found the podcast. If this episode has an impact on you or helps you in any way, can you do me a quick favor? If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leave a 5-star rating and a review of an episode that you loved. And if you're watching on YouTube, hi, either place, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can be reminded to come back every Wednesday. I am creating this movement of ADHD entrepreneurs so we can grow it together. This is not just a me thing. This is a we thing. Now, I understand your ADHD professionally and personally. So each episode has my 25 years of business expertise woven in and filtered through the lens of having this feral funhouse of a brain we have, also known as ADHD. So if you're late diagnosed or self-identified, you have found your people. And last but not least, my business philosophy is all about focusing in life too, not just business, focusing on the upsides of our beautiful Technicolor brains, showing you how to use it as a secret weapon, use it to your advantage in your business. And I do this while also acknowledging that the hard parts are real. They're very fucking real. But also, there's a way to work with them instead of against them. And I don't believe ADHD is a disability. And I know that ADHD women in business can do whatever the fuck they put their minds to. So if that is not your jam, I might not be your jam, and that's totally okay. But if you do share that perspective or this perspective piques your curiosity, I'd love you to stick around. So glad you're here. Let's get into today's topic of foundation. First, I want to start off by saying, fucking hooray for you for pulling a neurological impulse out of your brain and going, this one, and then bringing it into reality because you literally pulled something out of your meatloaf in your skull and you're like, yes, I'm going to do this, right? That is brave and fucking ballsy and amazing. And it's something we are natural at doing those things. And that whole building the plane while you're flying it approach is great. It gets you started. It teaches you messy action. It helps you prove concepts more quickly or get rid of things that are not meant to stay with you. But there comes a transition point when flying and building at the same time stops working. And what it does instead is start creating chaos. That chaos can look like overthinking, overanalyzing every little thing, making something 17 layers that only needs to be 3, overcomplicating, over delivering, overcompensating, being the nice girl, all of that stuff. That part is the chaos. And what I want you to understand about this episode is I am not here to change who you are. It's about channeling the energy you have strategically as possible. And so, first, why do we struggle during this becoming known phase, this 3 or 6 or 9 or 12 months or however long before that traction really starts going? Well, there's a few reasons. First, the dopamine drought, right? Your initial launch startup phase, high dopamine, new, exciting, quick wins, immediate feedback. All the things are happening at once, right? The foundation building phase is low dopamine, right? Repetitive systems, if you have systems, or creating repetitive systems, showing up consistently for you, determining what that looks like and showing up, doing the same things over and over again. ADHD brains sometimes experience this is like excruciating. It's painful. And it's not that we're being dramatic. Truly, our brains are like, boring. This is a threat. No, thank you. No. We also have a power to say, no, we're safe. We're fine. It's okay that this is boring. It's not bad to be bored sometimes. Stop it. Sit down. Be quiet. I'm going to strap you into that 5-point harness. I'm driving the bus, baby. Then what happens is you'll have a dopamine hit for a new idea that feels more urgent than the slow burn of foundation building and reputation building. Another thing we contend with is time blindness, which is also described as now and not now. That is how we see time. It's either now and urgently right now or not now, right? We operate on immediate, urgent, and interesting things. Not now, that's essentially everything else. So long-term reputation building, becoming known lives in the not now. So that may feel abstract. It may feel far away. It may feel a little bit challenging to be motivated. And then new shiny objects, those are now immediate, concrete, exciting. Woo, let's do this, right? But this makes it really hard to hold the vision of where you're going when something sparkly appears today. I will give you a perfect example. I had a new client hire me. She's in the finance, she's a service provider and helps people with, she's a CPA. And we had our 90-minute deep dive. And after the deep dive, I think it was like the next day, after we put her plan together, she's like, oh, by the way, I saw that I could do this app and I was wondering, and design and creating. And I came right back to her and I said, that's a not now thing, not a now thing. That's a shiny object. That's fear coming up. Like, oh, I just put everything on the line. And if I just do this thing instead, then maybe I'll feel more safe. No, because that thing will go down that road as well. And eventually, right, that dopamine kind of falls. So that new shiny object is something that you definitely, when you are in certain modes in your business, you need somebody who's going to help give you a couple of things. And I'll tell you what those are towards the end of the episode. But this is something that was not a fundamental. It was absolutely not a requirement for her to make money in her business. So I was able to point that out, right? Another thing is the paradox when it comes to visibility. You're finally getting seen, which means more opportunities and more ideas and more people wanting things from you, right? So holding the line, maybe like, oh shit, now things are really rocking and rolling here. And that means you are being seen, but you're also doing more, right? And your ADHD brain wants to interpret it and say yes to all of this now. I joke with my clients, I'm like, you want to create this course for 1 million people by tomorrow, because that's how our brains work. That urgency, that novelty, we love it, right? But this is exactly all of the more ideas, more people wanting things, more opportunities. This is when you need to say no the most. And our brains struggle with no. We struggle with boundaries. Straight up. Also, this can be an understimulation thing. Consistency can feel like I love the dying a slow death, right? It can feel like, if I have to say this thing one more time, However, I'm going to give you ways to make all of this feel way easier for you while you're in this phase. So hang in there with me. Understimulation, posting the same type of content, having similar client conversations, running established programs that are evergreen, all of those things that are been there, done that, right? Your brain craves novelty as a survival mechanism. So it's going to generate emergencies and brilliant pivots. I need to pivot to create stimulation in your brain, right? To keep you interested. This is when oftentimes people will blow up what is working because their brain says, it's broken. Because they haven't got to the tipping point yet. The tipping point is when, I don't know, we have this, my mentor even said this, she's like, we have this 30-day time frame in our brain. I don't know if that's just because we have months or if that's just like some kind of rhythm we have as humans because of the calendar, et cetera, or, sunrise, sunset. You understand what I'm saying here. So you convince yourself that, it didn't work in 30 days. I suck. My business sucks. My idea sucks. This thing sucks. That thing sucks. I'm going to give you a little thingamajig here. Ready? I thought of the sisterhood, the Neurospicy Sisterhood, my mastermind. I thought of it initially in the bathtub. I put a slide out immediately. It was called the ADHD Entrepreneurs Office Hours. That's what it started out as being. It became for sure a sisterhood, which was why we did the name change, we meaning myself. And I ran it for, let's see, I started it, I'd have to take a look, over a year, I would say, with a handful of really incredible women inside before it really started taking off, before more additional women came into the fold. Had I done just 30 days, and even a couple of the women who were in there and just was like, I'm just going to blow this off, not blow it off, but be like, this isn't working. Instead of going, no, I know this is something that women like us need. I have imagined this mastermind since I got my diagnosis. I wasn't fucking around. Like, the sisterhood is really something that matters to me. And the iteration that it is now would not be here today had I just said, after 30 days. I had people who started with me. It was a membership. very different than it is now. It's evolved over time, and I let it. Instead of stopping it or halting it, I let it. The sisterhood is my number one program. What would have happened if I would have went, this is okay. There's only 5 people in here. Dude, I gave everything I have to those fucking women who are fucking amazing, and they have done such incredible shit, and they've come along for the ride with me, and now new women are coming in as well and coming along for the ride, and they're all talking with each other. It is literally what I envisioned in my head. But the day I put it out there into the world on the fly was not the day that I put the foundation underneath it. The foundation that goes underneath it is there now. But I had to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I have to tighten this up somehow. So having a 30 or 60 or 90-day time frame in our brain can seem like, oh, this is forever for us because time, now, not now. But I will tell you, it's fucking worth it. It is so freaking worth it when you know the thing is amazing. Because we know when an idea is like, this is kind of shit. And then there are those ones where you're like, nope, this is really something. That's what I'm talking about. But oftentimes, women will blow that shit up before they get a chance to see that it worked. I chose to not do that. I am fucking ADHD combined type, and I have anxiety. So if I, at 52 years old, can fucking do this and make these things work with the way my brain works, so can you. So can you. That's what my mission is all about. Now, let's go on to the identity shift. A lot of people talk about identity shift, and what I'm not saying is mask up, bitches. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you get to decide how you roll through the world way more intentionally than perhaps you think you do. I don't give a shit if you have ADHD. I've had it all my life, right? Unruly. I've still been able to build well. I just built until I burnt myself out. And that's what I don't want you to do. That's why I'm here, right? So one of the first things that will happen is moving from feeling like this like scrappy startup, just fucking scrappy and grit, to more of an established business owner. You're not just winging it anymore, right? And so another thing I want you to understand that I've talked about before is that sometimes our brains have this really complex, weird fucking relationship with success and being seen as competent or a professional or the authority, any of those words. Our brains are like, boop, boop, boop. No, I'm not. I don't know shit. I'm got 25 years of business experience, and there are still some days where my brain's like, you don't know shit. And I'm like, sit down. You're lying to me. Like, I know my ADHD so well, I can talk to the traits and be like, nope, we're not going there. I choose something different. Another thing with this identity shift is the boring foundational work feels like you put on, serious business owner costume. That ain't it either. I'm not telling you to dress differently or be anything different than you are. Never will I ever do that or try to have you become me in your business because, nope, that ain't it. I don't want anyone to technically be able to have telltale signs that you work with me. I want them to know you work with me because you talk about it and you tell people, but not because everything I do is exactly what you do and it's just carbon copy, carbon copy. I don't want that for you. But it may feel like, oh, this doesn't fit. We find a way for it to fit so that it doesn't feel that way. While you're building a foundation, and building your foundation doesn't mean losing money either, but we'll get there. The next thing is your imposter syndrome is going to meet your executive dysfunction, is going to meet your fear of being boring, corporate, too buttoned up. Those are all going to mix and mingle. You get to tell them to fuck off, by the way. Yes, executive dysfunction is real, but you can set things up in your business to be so automated and smooth that you're like, do I even have ADHD anymore? I haven't dropped any balls lately. Well, bitch, it's because you have something under you that works well. It's got processes that are simple, repeatable. The fun, the excitement is in the different work that we do day in and day out with different human beings. But I'll tell you, simple behind the scenes is queen. It's queen. That foundation is important. So let's talk a little bit about doing it all alone. Going it alone does not work. Your brain will always convince you that the new thing is for sure the right thing. You need and this is not like you have some kind of flaw here. Nope. Literally different wiring. Okay. That's it. Different wiring. That means sometimes you need an external nervous system that is not connected to you and your body, someone who holds the vision of where you're going when you can't see it and doesn't let you go off the rails. The three things we need as ADHD women in business is pick your flavor: guardrails, accountability, or both. When it comes to guardrails, that's clear boundaries on what you will and won't do, decided in advance when your brain is regulated. Somebody who helps you see when you're about to drive off the road before you do, and some predetermined criteria for looking at new opportunities, not just in the moment when dopamine's just like flooding and you're feeling great, right? Because that you will commit to things that lower energy you is like, nope. Ever done that? Somebody invites you somewhere like, yeah. And then like an hour before you're like, I don't want to go. We can do that in our business too. Accountability can look like external deadlines and check-ins because internal motivation disappears or there's going through some low dopamine. Someone asking, did you do the boring thing? With no judgment, by the way. Body doubling or being in a room virtually with other people to give you a little bit more energy for tasks your brain wants to avoid. And then both. This is more common, I find, is that when you have guardrails and accountability, you go faster, straight up. I know this for a fact. I've seen it in my clients over and over again, day in and day out. When you have a coach who understands that just stay focused is not helpful advice, it changes. Or you don't want it bad enough. Or you aren't manifesting hard enough. I believe in all of those things, but that's not it. Okay. Somebody who, with guardrails and accountability, can say, I know this is a pain in the ass and it's temporary and it's necessary. Let's keep going. What's the next step that you can do to get you out of your own head, out of your own fucking way? And permission to make building your foundation less boring while you're doing it. Gamify. It gets to be fun. It can be fun. This mentor, coach, myself, whoever it may be, who understands your brain, can see the difference between a genuine pivot that's necessary and a dopamine seeking behavior. I can spot that so fucking fast because I know it in myself, and it's easy to spot in other people, especially once I get to know you better. Once you are kind of in the fold, right? In the sisterhood, in the girl gang, and I get to know you and about your business, I can see that behavior because I can see patterns really well and quickly and call you out in a way that is not shaming or rude. I usually call people out by asking them questions because they will answer their own question, right? Somebody like myself can help you build systems that work with your brain instead of against it. Why the fuck are you walking uphill backwards in the snow when you could be driving a car with gas? Drive the car with gas. It's so much better. Somebody who doesn't shame you when you're in struggle. Whoever you choose to work with, redirects that energy and gives you the support approach instead of the shaming approach. Because the shaming you isn't going to do shit. It's just going to make you feel worse. It's going to take you longer to get out of that. That doesn't help anybody. We've had enough shame in our life anyway, so you can unsubscribe to that. And having somebody who has a brain like yours, who knows when to push and when to maybe adapt the approach, somebody who understands nuance, who sees your body language, who can feel your energy and go, something's off. I do that all the time. My clients will tell you, they'll be like, that's uncanny. How the fuck do you do that? Because I pay attention and I give a shit. That's why. And lastly, one of the things I do well is hold complexity. Yes, to your messy action and strategic foundational pieces. It gets to be a little bit of both. So there are two ways that you can build a solid foundation. If you're early in your business, build that foundation alongside with the exciting stuff. You will thank me later. And if you don't know what those things are, reach out to me. Let's talk. The advantage of this is you don't have to backtrack and rebuild certain things later. Now, just as businesses progress, you might be editing or auditing certain things, but it doesn't mean a full rebuild down the road. You've put the first few steps so that the next few steps can easily be built down the road. This includes a foundation of recurring revenue and a foundation of the way things work behind the scenes so that your brain is not doing more mental labor than you actually have to be doing, because it is finite. This also requires you to get support to help you see why this matters, even when your brain doesn't feel it yet. Somebody who's more experienced than you to show you examples of why this helps, because that will help keep you walking one foot after the other. The other thing, if you have been flying that plane while you're building it for a couple of years, it's time to retrofit. Build some fucking scaffolding. You've been building, things are working-ish, but you have some cracks showing, right? There's some cracks in the plane starting to show. We have heard this saying over and over again, but man, really hear me. Listen closely. What got you here is not going to now get you there. The foundation you have can't support the next level either. You're ready to get intentional versus reactivity. You've been in that reactionary mode because urgent feels good, it feels fun, but your fucking nervous system is pissed off. No wonder you can't go to sleep at night. Your brain is still going. This requires you to slow down in order to speed up. And it's temporary slowdown and then a usually for my clients, a slingshot forward. And when I say slow down, I don't mean stop your business, stop making revenue. I don't mean any of that. I don't mean taking a pay cut. I mean literally starting to make sure that you have that foundation under you. It is not an overnight process. It takes time. I can shorten the amount of time it takes you to do that because I have those foundational things that I know, that I understand. But it doesn't mean you have to lose anything. As a matter of fact, you're going to gain so much. You're going to be like, what the fuck have I been doing? And it's not that that's bad. We need to have our road go the way that it goes so that we can help our clients in the best way possible from those things that we've learned. But there is also a time where if you want to make more money, hiring a coach who actually understands your fucking brain and who specializes in business growth and understands what that looks like themselves, because I've owned 2 other businesses that were not coaching businesses, and what that takes. And then also pulling in my coaching experience and all the other things that come with that to get you farther faster. I'm a manifesting generator. One of the terms for a manny-gen is time bender. I can help you bend time. So let's talk about a few tips for staying the course when it's unsexy. Reframe boring as practiced. Your brain hates boring. Your brain hates things that are boring. Your brain loves mastery. It loves knowing something inside and out. The same action repeated is you becoming somebody who does that thing more naturally. Athletes practice the fundamentals obsessively. Their drills. You think they love that shit? Nope. This is your version of that, Kobe. Okay. Dopamine hacking if you need to for the necessary work. Pair low dopamine tasks with high dopamine activities. Music, body doubling, rewards, setting a timer. There's a bunch of different ways you can hack that. I have lots of fun little things that I help my clients do for this. Gamify metrics if you do not get too wrapped up in metrics. I know people who all they do is obsessive over metrics, and that is just like a losing game because you can't control it, right? But if tracking something in particular, if doing that in streaks and, I don't want to lose my streak, or creating some sort of visual progress indicator, or creating something that is visual for you to truly look at because that helps you, that's great. Make the boring things slightly different each time, even within the framework. Within what it is you're doing, make it fun. Time box it in. I only have 25 minutes to do this. That makes it survivable. Set a timer because your 25 minutes can end up looking like 2 hours. And external accountability is really non-negotiable when it comes to this. You want to get a coach who understands your brain specifically. You want to join or create a group of business owners who get it. That's why I have the Sisterhood Mastermind. It didn't exist. A mastermind for late diagnosed ADHD women, or women who self-identify or late identified with ADHD. There's nothing else like this out there. I've looked, I've searched on the interwebs, and I couldn't find it. That's why I created it. It's part of the grand scheme of things. Body doubling helps. So if you're in some sort of group and you may not be participating that day, but you can go inside of that Zoom room or something, or even, to a coffee shop, something like that, that can really help. And scheduling check-ins with somebody outside of you before you feel like you need them. Don't wait till you need them. And it's your freaking body's like, fried. It's too late. Create decision-making criteria in advance when your brain is calm. Write down what qualifies as a hell yes opportunity. Ask yourself, does this support my foundation building or distract from it? When a shiny object appears, check the list before you decide, and give yourself 72 hours before you say yes to something new. Make the longer game visible. Create visual reminders of where you're going, whether that's like a vision board, goals on your wall, desires, images around you, whatever. Give yourself visuals. We are visual creatures. When we see it around us, it's a reminder. Track indicators, not just outcomes. I posted consistently. I had discovery calls. I built this system. I did this email, not like, okay, we're launched. I mean, like the indicators that mean you're moving forward. Track those. Could be fun if you're a track kind of person. This might work for your brain. Celebrate milestones that are to do with your foundation, like it's a fucking $100,000 launch. I'm not joking. Like, fucking hooray. Celebrate that shit, big and small. Because every step you take towards where you're going is another step closer. That's something to celebrate. I know that just sounded weird, but I know you know what I meant. Connect today's boring task to what it looks like in the future. Do you have a laundry service? Do you have a maid that comes once a week? Does somebody come and take care of the kids a couple days so that you can have a little bit more focus time? Does somebody do the grocery shopping for you? What are those things that you want to make a reality, or that you want to become the norm? And connect that to that boring task. That's a fun one. I want you to please normalize the struggle. This part is harder for our brains. You aren't weak. You don't have a broken brain. Everyone who is successful has done the unsexy shit. They just don't always post about it or talk about it or are transparent about it. The difference between those who make it and those who don't is often the staying power through this phase. I shit you not, trial by fire, right? getting to the next part and learning how to power through, not in a way that is detrimental to you and going to cause you to burn out, but keep you moving towards where you're going. Your brain is lying to you about this being unbearable. It's predictable and manageable. When you get to know your brain and your ADHD, these things become easier for you to get through, to have different ways to get yourself to the other side. Please build in novelty without blowing your shit up. Rotate which foundational task you're going to focus on. Keep some variety in there. Change the method, not the goal. A new way to create content with the same pillars, right? And a different way to do that, to do your stories, to do something that you know you need to do, but make it fun. Plan for experimentation time that is separate from the foundational work that you're doing, and pay attention to that novelty itch in ways that are low stakes, that don't derail what you're doing. Get support for yourself that understands your fucking brain. Please, and for the love of all that's holy, if I could tell you every client who said to me, I didn't realize one of the biggest things missing in my business was somebody who had a brain like mine, or somebody who understood my brain. Seriously. Once my clients come, they stay, because also I know how to help them grow and grow into more levels than just one, right? Having that kind of support that understands you is amazing. Not somebody who thinks that ADHD is quirky or that you're distracted, or says everyone's a little ADHD. No, they're not. Rude. 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 Find somebody who can compassionately call you out when you're self-sabotaging. In my intake form at the end, I straight up say, I have this thing called a frying pan of love. And that's where I say something you may not want to hear, but because I deliver it with so much love and compassion and knowledge and understanding, your brain may be able to hear it. Is it okay for me to use the frying pan of love on you? Yes, no, other. Explain, right? That is compassionately calling you out. I want you to ensure that they understand the difference between executive dysfunction and lack of commitment. They are fucking different. They are different. I'll give you an example. I can post reels and content galore. When it comes to my podcast, putting that onto those reels onto my podcast Instagram is literally the bane of my existence. No matter how many times I have tried to get myself to do it, I just fucking can't. So I have somebody else do it for me. It's one little tiny thing, but my executive dysfunction is like, I would rather poke my eye out with a hot stick than do that. And there are very few things that are that solidified in that executive dysfunction. But man, if you take those couple of things that are the bane of your existence, that all you do is like think about how much you hate them, just took those few, words are hard, take those few things off your plate, my dude, it gets better. Everything gets better. Somebody like myself will be able to help you build systems that fit your brain and that don't force you into a neurotypical fucking straitjacket. That's not what you need. You need what works for you, and that looks different for everybody. I hope that these things at the end helped you understand some different ways that you can help yourself get through that part if that's where you are right now. And with that, I'm going to end today's episode. If you would like to get into my ecosystem and keep up with the latest and greatest, hop onto my newsletter, The Frequency. It's exclusively for late diagnosed and self-identified ADHD women in business. The link is in the show notes. And if you have any questions about the Neurospicy Sisterhood Mastermind, the only mastermind exclusively for women like us, or you want to chat about simplifying your business for growth and what it looks like to work together, book your free clarity call. That link is also in the show notes, or slide into my DMs on Instagram at Carry Out Loud. This call for clarity is a 30-minute call. It's not a coaching call. I get to know you, get to understand your business goals or desires, and we see if we're a match to work together. That's it. Easy peasy. So until next week, I see you, I love you, and I am fucking rooting for you always. Stay feral. Okay? Okay. Bye. Oh, hey, you're still here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the ways to follow me. And of course, my goal is to find and help as many women with ADHD get away from the 9-to-5 grind, because it's just not designed for our neurospicy brilliance, and there are other ways to do life. So by subscribing, sharing, and giving a 5-star review, it helps other women find this podcast as well. And if there's an episode you really love, please feel free to take a screenshot and share it on your social and tag me in it so that I can thank you personally. Until next time, you spicy brained unicorn. Bye.